lot about how to sell and how to get those initial meetings. But in this video, I want to run through our exact sales and service agreement, the exact contract, the legalese that we hand to our clients, why each of those lines is in there, and stick around for the end of the video because I will give you this contract as an editable document. So let's jump into it. This is the exact contract we use to close business. The point where this comes in the sales process is they've seen the price, they've seen the proposal or the bullet points or whatever we sent them over, the examples, they've talked to the references, and this is right before the deal is sealed. They have to sign this document for it to be officially closed. So here's the sales and service agreement. This sales and service agreement is dated this 9th day. This took me about $1,000, by the way. I had to hire a lawyer to write this, so here's some free $1,000 at least worth of value for you. So there are a few sections in this doc, and I'll just run through them one by one. One is the sale of services, where we list out what they're buying. Here we list out every service, and we say that it could include a mix of any of the following. So basically what they're buying, and then the cost. The client agrees to pay for the services for $14,000 a month. Of this amount, $10,000 will be used for marketing, $4,000 will be passed through related to remarketing, PPC, that sort of thing. The reason this is in here is because people need to know what you're selling and what things are costing very straightforwardly. This is what contracts are for. And then the next one is the payment services. So payment method will be billed on signing and automatically billed 30 days after the previous billing period. Payment shall be made via credit card using the card on file. This is in here because we use ChargeBee and Stripe to collect payments most of the time. And this basically says when they're going to pay us. The point of a contract, a good contract will spell out everything you guys already talked about and do it in a way that actually has it point by point. The reason contracts exist are if there's any problems with a client or you have any problems with them, you need to have some kind of structure, some place where things are written down and agreed to so that you're not just relying on things that you said or things that were written in emails. Puts it all in one spot. And then the other one is the delivery of the services section, which outlines exactly when we'll deliver. So company shall commence services on 2/9. Company shall complete services by a date mutually agreed upon with 30 days notice. This agreement shall be effective on the date hereof and shall continue unless terminated. And then we have the out clause. This is how we terminate the agreement. Either party may terminate with 30 days written notice. Any termination of this agreement shall not affect any accrued rights or liabilities of the party. So some NDA type stuff in here. Then we've got the warranty. So the company represents and warrants that it will provide services with reasonable care and skill. The company guarantees that if halfway through its engagement, the company does not satisfy the goal of 80 meetings, the company will cease billing and perform services for free up until the client is back on track to hit projected goals. So this is our guarantee that we use at Experiment 27. Basically, halfway through the agreement, if we're not on track, we'll work for free until we get back on track. And that's written in here. That's written into the contract. The other one is relationship of the parties. This is some legal stuff that I think it's for taxes. I'm not actually sure why it's in here, but the lawyer made me put it in here. So we are independent contractors. Nothing in this agreement is a partnership, a joint venture, an agency relationship, or otherwise between the parties. I think it's for taxes. Who can really tell? Confidentiality, we've got our NDA in here. And then the final one is notice. This is another one that our lawyer made us put in here. And what this means is it goes over how client communication works. So it defines what a client communication is, which means that they can basically cancel or make changes to the agreement with first class mail, with a fax or hand delivered thing, or an email. And that's that. Then you got this entire agreement clause, which says it's covered by our mutual NDA. And it's our entire understanding of everything we talked about, some more legalese stuff. Any and all amendments must be in writing and signed by all members. All questions with respect say that we're governed under the laws of Wyoming, which is where our LLC is set up. And then you've got the severability clause in here, which is, again, a legal thing, which says if any of these points in the contract are not legal or you throw out, it doesn't throw out the entire contract. It just throws out that one point. And then we've got the signatures, and that's the client contract. Feel free to check out the Google Doc. We're going to link it down below that has all this. Use this in your own deals. I also recommend hiring a lawyer just to write this out. But if you're just starting, it doesn't really matter. I used to use a one-page contract when I was first starting that I just kind of wrote by hand, and it's fine until you get sued. And that's our entire contract. Point by point, why we have everything in here. Feel free to rip this off and use it in your own client work. I also recommend hiring a lawyer if you need one. The other thing worth touching on, if you're interested in this kind of like point-by-point breakdown of stuff that is super boring but is necessary. We also have insurance, liability insurance, and I can talk about how we picked that. I've also got, I could do one on entrepreneurship taxes as well if you're into any of this like gritty stuff. So feel free to like this video to encourage this type of content. Comment below if you have any questions on what we talked about here. Subscribe to this channel for more B2B sales training. And if you need marketing support for your digital agency, check out experiment27.com. Thanks.